Look, I am well aware that I look crazy, okay? But this is where we insert trust the process, okay? Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. As you can tell from the title of the video, today we are going to do highlight and contouring, and I already have my base on. I did my moisturizer, I didn't do serum today, the moisturizer, primer, and my foundation. The foundation that I used today is a combination of these two. This is Divas Cosmetics Hydrating Foundation in the shade Bronze 4, and this is Elegant Pro Face in the shade Caramel. Yes. And for application, for starters, I did use a brush for application, and then I used a beauty blender just to blend everything out and to be able to suck away any excess product. So without, if you hear snoring, it's my husband sleeping. At 2 a.m. filming this. So when you talk about let's start first with highlighting. So with highlighting is basically bringing forward or making the star of the show the areas that naturally the light hits your face. And as you can see, even when you look at me, the bridge of my nose is very highlighted, this area over here underneath my eyes and over here. And as you can see, the places that the light that doesn't naturally hit at this is like the edge of my like my hairline and this sides. Like naturally you can't see the light there, but where you can see that reflection is over here, here, and here, and that's ideally where you're supposed to highlight. So when it comes to highlighting, a lot of people do tend to sometimes go overboard, especially with their concealer, and by that I mean some people go even 3 or 4 shades lighter, but what is recommended is 2 or 3 shades maximum lighter than your complexion, just so you don't look like, have you ever seen, like, for example, some people have makeup on but like everything is okay, like the foundation color is okay, the contour is okay, but the highlight is really light, and you can tell that this little area over here, it just looks it looks like a whole different color of a person. And if that is your style of makeup, well and good. Let me just slightly adjust this. If that's your style of makeup, well and good. But what I do recommend, especially if you're going for a natural looking face, not even a face beat, a natural looking finish, what I recommend doing is, this is what I personally do. If you have another method, please feel free to comment in the comment section so that we can also enlighten each other. So what I tend to do, especially when I'm doing makeup on a person, is I will look at them and then I will look at their lighter areas and their darker areas, and ideally I would use that to dictate what concealer shade and how light I should go. For example, for me, this is usually the lightest part of me because this part is a bit darker. So this is usually the lightest part of me, and above my chest. So what I tend to do is I would go in with a concealer color that is almost this color and that is not lighter than this, because what tends to happen is if I go lighter than this, over here I look whitish and the rest of my body is a different color. Again, as I said, if that's your preference, nobody judging you, okay? Do you? Makeup is all about expression and all about doing what you feel is okay for you. So the same thing with contouring. When it comes to contouring, I ideally you should go 2 or 3 shades darker, but sometimes what I like to do is, for example, the color that is over here, I tend to, because it's darker than the rest of my face, I tend to look for a color that is slightly that color or just 1 shade darker than that. Like for example, I would look at the darker areas of my face or of my body, and I would use that shade or 1 shade darker. So for me, when I talk about contouring, is just basically also pushing back the areas that naturally are not hit by the light, which I explained is the perimeters of my face. So sometimes if you go too dark, you end up looking darker than your actual color. For me, when it comes to makeup, the foundation should look your color, your highlight should look slightly one tone or one shade that is on your body or that complements your skin tone, and same thing with the contour. So without further ado, let me get straight into the highlighting and contouring. So when it comes to concealer, there are concealers that are hydrating, and there are other concealers that are mattifying, and it's exactly how what the name suggests. So the hydrating ones, they give you more moisture, they give you more glow, they give you more radiance, whereas the matte ones, they really suck out any oil and make sure that you look nice and matte and dry. Not like dry in a bad way, but they're oil blotting. Yeah, I think that's the word that I should use. So my the most common one is usually this one, Illegal has a really beautiful formulation, and the amazing thing about it is it allows you to be able to leave it for a few seconds so it can dry down, so it can add the coverage. But the concealer that we're going to be using today is also from Divas Cosmetics. I did mention in a previous video to you guys that if you have a specific brand of products that you like, for example, let's talk about Divas Cosmetics. I really love their range of products, so I've used their foundation. If I like their concealer, I would use their concealer as well, because there is such a beautiful radiance that comes with using products that are in the same range, or that were formulated in the same range, because I don't have any other word to use. They usually sit so beautifully on top of each other, and they look perfect. That's not to say that if you have different products from different companies, it won't work well. No, I'm just saying that if you have the option of using products from the same range and from the same company. Is this snoring a lot, guys? I don't know. I don't know if you can hear this snoring through here, but if you can, I'm sorry. Okay, we move because I need to do this video. Yes, so let me show you guys the concealer that we're going to be using today, and the contour shade that we're going to be using as well. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing my concealer. So the concealer that I'm going to be using is this one. This one is the Divas Cosmetics concealing cream, and it's in the shade medium bronze. And for contour, I'm going to be using the Flory Roberts stick foundation in the shade Java. This one is usually a perfect blend for me. When it sits on my skin, it just brings out those shadows beautifully, and it just looks nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with applying the concealer, and then I'm going to let it sit for just a little bit. And as I said, what that will do is it will allow the product to get a little more coverage, so it looks a little more opaque. Also, guys, especially when it comes to choosing your concealer color or your contour shade, it's important to look at your undertone. So if, for example, you are of a golden undertone, then it's important to get something that is of a similar undertone, just so you're not like a golden undertone and then you choose a concealer that is really yellow. Also choose according to your undertones, and you can always be able to tell your undertones according to the colors of your veins, whether they're green or blue. If you guys want me to do a detailed video on that in terms of choosing your foundation and also undertones, let me know in the comment section. So right now I'm just going to drag this. There are different ways. I do see there's some people who drag the concealer all the way down here, but what I like to do is when I'm blending in my foundation, I'll blend it in until somewhere here, and then for the concealer area I'll just leave it there, because I don't, as I told you guys from the earlier video about under eye creasing, I don't like to over pack product that I don't need, because I don't need the foundation there, because I will come in with a concealer. So I just leave it there, and then I come in later on with a concealer, and just that does everything in terms of concealing any darkness, hyperpigmentation, or bags that I may have underneath my eyes. So I'm going to also apply it down here a bit above my cupid's bow, and then right where it hits the light beautifully on my nose area. And I don't know if you guys noticed, like today I did like super thin brows. It looks crazy over here and over here because I had to cut it off because of the look that I'm doing with the eyeshadow. Also, what do you think about this eyeshadow look? I've never done such a look. It's like an open cut crease, but then with the pizzazz, okay? So I'm going to just drag this a little bit on the side and also on this side. The thing with concealer, I don't like to put too much, also because I tend to find that when you overlay a product, for me, it just never ends up well, and you end up creasing and looking a little cakier and less natural than you should. So I'm also going to take now the residue of this, because I didn't do any liner on this side, but I want to just clean up. So I'm just going to take the concealer and then drag it all the way up to where I want my eyeshadow to end. So I'm going to do that on the other side and then come back and do the contour. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is going in with our contour shade. As I told you guys, you can use a shade 2 or 3 shades darker, or alternatively you can always use the color that is the darkest part of your body, and it will give you a really beautiful and natural looking finish. So I'm going to just take my stick foundation and I'm going to apply it all over. So I'm going to apply it here right before my hairline, and then on the contour. So where you want to apply the contour from your cheekbone is, you see where your ear is here at the top. So just draw an imaginary line like that, and then that is where your contour is supposed to be. I do advise, don't ever take your contour all the way till here, because you want your contour to lift your face and to make your face look a little more structured. So if you drag it all the way here, then you'll end up looking like you have a wider face, and we want to snatch the face. Okay, so also on the jawline, just right over here, but here I don't put like the whole thing, I just put a little line, and then what I do is I blend it all out. So I'm going to do the same on this side there, and then right here again from the top of my ear downwards, just a little bit, just a smidge. Let me add a little bit like that. And then now on my nose. So the nose, because the stick has a very nice edge, I'm gonna just do it there and there. Okay, because this is a stick foundation, it tends to dry quicker than if it was a liquid foundation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same beauty blender, but I'm going to use the base of the beauty blender. Beauty blenders tend to suck and absorb product, so I don't want it to suck my contour color because it's a really beautiful color. So what I do is I just put a little bit of product over there and then blend it and warm it up with the back of my hand, just making sure that it's all blended nicely. And then now I'll start pushing the product in like so. Usually what tends to happen is sometimes if you don't blend it into your hairline, you tend to look like you have a line of demarcation, and it's not a really flattering look. So what I would advise you doing is blending it, and if you're able to even blend it into your hairline, you can always wipe off the excess makeup on the hairline if it looks unflattering. But what we want it to look like is that there is a seamlessness between this color here of the hair all the way through. And don't mind my hair, guys, okay? I want you to see that blend. Like, you see that blend is a blend from all the way inside my hair all the way out for that color, because you don't want also your scalp or your hairline to be a different color, and then here you put like a whole different color. You want it to be beautiful and complementing. And what I'm doing is just very gently beating. This is now what is called face beat, okay? So I'm just tapping back and forth, and then when it comes to this side, you don't want to drag it up, you want to tap or blend upwards. So this is what I do. So I blend it, but I blend it in an upward motion like so. And don't be afraid of it getting into your hairline, but always wipe it off as long as it looks all nice and seamless. Again, guys, when you're doing this, always make sure that you do it quick, because remember we've left some concealer drying, and if it dries too much, let me tell you, it will be the hardest thing to blend. And then over here, I'm going to blend it back and forth, and then after blending it all the way along my jawline, what I tend to do is drag it downwards, just so there can be a seamlessness and it's not just one dark line on my jaw like so. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and after I do this, I'm going to show you how you can be able to make everything look seamless and nothing look like it starts here and it ends here, because everything is supposed to be a beautiful blend, and it's supposed to look like, you know, everything is just beautifully marrying each other. That's like my favorite word in makeup, marrying each other. Okay, so everything is blended out except the nose contour, which we're going to do later. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the area that I blended my foundation, because you see this area over here has foundation, this area over here has foundation. Everywhere that borders the contour has what? Foundation. So you take the foundation side, and then just right on the edge of that you want to blend it out. Don't go into the contour, don't go into the concealer, just blend out the edge of the two. So you see, I'm gonna blend out the edge of this, and then also the edge down here like that, and also at the top here. The key is always to make sure that everything looks nice and seamless and blended. And then I'm gonna now take my beauty blender, and then I'll start blending out my concealer. I want to come close, and can you guys see how opaque that looks? Like it has concealed beautifully, and I haven't left it for too long, so it's not hard to blend. And also the one thing that I realized with leaving your concealer to sit for just a few minutes is it actually even takes you a shorter time to blend, because everything has just sat where it's supposed to sit. But the thing with this, as I said earlier, guys, do not use this method of letting your concealer sit for a while if you are using a matte concealer. If you're using a matte concealer, just immediately you place it on, blend it. I'm also going to blend my nose like so, and as you can see, I'm not dragging, I'm just patting it in, because the key in concealing is you want to make sure that the product remains where you have placed it. Okay, so if you drag it, you're moving it around, and that's going to just look odd. So blending everything together like so. And you remember what we did when it came to the contour and the foundation, how we blended the two together? We're gonna do the very same thing with the concealer and the foundation, just to make sure that everything is beautifully blended out and that there are no harsh lines or lines of demarcation. So there we go. I'm just gonna take a clean side and quickly blend out this nose contour, and I'm going to just drag it to the beginning part of my eyebrow like so. Again, guys, just pat in, pat in, pat in, pat in. We're not dragging, we're just patting in. If you feel like an area needs a little more product, feel free to go in with the product, but I would recommend going in with a little bit at a time, just so it's not too much and hard to blend. So as you guys can see, this is where we are at. Okay, this is where we are at. Look at that skin work. So we're not yet done yet. Again, we're gonna go in with the foundation side, and then now the border between the concealer and the contour, we're gonna just blend it out with that foundation side, because you see, we want it to look like it's just this is how we want it to look. Like it's just concealer, foundation, contour, concealer, foundation, contour. You don't need to be like concealer, foundation, contour. You get what I mean? Like it's just a seamless marrying and blending of the three. So I'm gonna do like the same thing on that side, and also now here, because here we have the contour, and then now our concealer has gone all the way here. I'm just gonna use that foundation side and then just blend the edge. Okay guys, the edge where the two meet. And that's how we're looking. That's how we are looking. If you guys have any questions in regards to concealer, or if you struggle in any area in terms of skin work, do let me know. I am going to do a separate video for an in-depth foundation color match, but that's how we are looking in terms of the concealer. Yeah. Another thing is, you don't have to use a beauty blender if you are conversant, or if you're more comfortable with using brushes. by all means do so. I'm going to go ahead and do my powder foundation, my powder and my blush and everything else, and then I come back and show you guys a final look. If you are interested in how to set your under eye, there is a video that I did on how to avoid under eye creasing, and I showed you the A to Z's of how I usually do it, especially in terms of setting and powder and everything. So let me go and do the rest of my face, and then come back and show you guys how everything is looking. So I went ahead and put on the hair, put on a little outfit. It's actually just a shirt on top of my dera. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed and actually learned one or two things from this video on how to properly highlight and contour. I am going to be doing a different version of, because I have a round face, so I'm going to be doing a different version of someone with an oval face and a slightly square shaped face, but that will be in another video when I'm able to now be up and about. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you learned something and if you enjoyed it, and also share with your friends who struggle with highlight and contouring. And if you have any other questions, please let me know in the comment section and I'll be sure to answer you. And with that, thank you for watching. Also, this is how the look turned out. If I didn't say, I don't think I said. Yeah, this is how the look turned out with the powder, blush, lippy, highlight, everything. Okay, bye guys.